everyone. Before we start with our new episode, I would like to make a little confession. A while back, I was asked, why are you so invested in the IT community? And my honest answer was, I was just inspired by how many people create new tools, share their experience, their knowledge, especially when it comes to Microsoft Intune. And one of those inspiring people, Andrew Taylor, is an author. He's an MVP. He is been creating a lot of tools for the community. And today I am honored to have him as my guest. He will be sharing with us today his new tool, EUCToolbox, where he will show you how to deploy, manage, backup your Intune, and reports whatsoever. There are 8 features in this EUCToolbox. So please welcome with me, everyone, Andrew Taylor. Hello, Andrew. Thank you for coming to this episode. I am more than excited to have you here. Not only me, a lot of fans of yours, especially asked for this. So, like I explained earlier, our curiosity led us to you. See Toolbox. We are really curious. What is it? What is it to offer? Please. So go ahead, Ben.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me on. I'm also a big fan of your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so in case anyone doesn't know, I'm Andrew. I'm an Intune MVP and an AVD MVP, and I've been working in IT for far too long. Yeah. Longer than some people have been alive now, but there we go. And yeah, I built the EUCToolbox to layer upon Intune to fill some of the gaps it has out of the box. I mean, we all love Intune, but it's not 100%. There are a few things missing. So yes, we can run through all the tools if you like.
Yes, please.
Yep, I will share my screen. Hopefully you can see that. Okay.
I can see that.
Okay, so this is the homepage, and down the left-hand side we have all of the different tools. There's a mixture of free and paid tools, so we'll start with the free ones because they're the ones most people are interested in, and we'll have a look at what extras you get with the paid tools. So we will skip the top 2 for now because they're paid, and we'll go to probably the more famous one, the Intune Backup tool. So this is...
Just a quick question before you jump into the free toolbox. How many subscribers as of now you have for this toolbox?
About 300, 350 last time I checked.
Wow, this is awesome.
Yes, it's getting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, you are definitely known for this toolbox, especially with this Intune Backup. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes,
thank you.
Yeah, this is the most popular one because when Intune first came out, there was no backup option at all. Export to JSON is a new thing, and even then, it's settings catalog only. So if you want to back up anything else, you're out to block. So this will back up your whole tenant. It's completely free. You can self-host it, or you can use my hosted one. There's no cost to either. There's no adverts on it except for the sponsor logo at the bottom. Yeah. And it backs up everything. If you can see it in Intune, it will back it up. It will restore it. You can do a granular restore, so you can say, I just want this policy from 3 backups ago. You can restore that. Or you can look for drift. So if your tenant has changed since your last backup, it will alert you that your tenant's changed. And you can go in and have a look what's changed on it, which is useful if you've got multiple admins or if Microsoft change a backend policy you're not aware of. You can have a look and see what's changed, and if you want, you can roll it back.
Okay.
It's from the old on-prem days. You wouldn't change a server without doing a snapshot first. I don't think you should be changing an Intune policy without doing a backup first, because if something breaks, you want to be able to restore it back. Or if someone accidentally deletes half your policies and you don't have a backup, you're in for a long few days working out what they were and how to rebuild them.
It is. It is. This is one of the really crucial part of into of any system, just to have a backup there.
Absolutely, yes. Just because
Yeah.
it's cloud-based doesn't mean it's never going to lose anything, because there are still users. People will click buttons. People will delete things.
It is. It is.
So that's
Okay.
the backup tool. It runs from Azure Runbox, and it stores in a Git repo, so it can be GitHub, GitLab, or Azure DevOps. So whatever works for you. And because this is a self-hosted, or even on mine, the data is hosted in your Git, so you have full control over it.
Mhm.
And it uses your own app reg, so I literally have nothing. I'm just building a front end.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So this toolbox is okay. So now it's this toolbox. It's a web base
Yes.
initially. Okay.
Yes. Everything is web-based
Okay.
to make it easier for anyone to use.
Okay.
And it
All right.
uses app registrations underneath to authenticate to Graph.
Same.
So
Would it be possible to have today a quick demo on not necessarily every each tool? I mean, you can really pick one of those, even if it's the paid one, especially the paid one later on. We need to see what's going on.
Yeah, we'll
But
do a demo of
yeah,
the management one, because that's the paid one, but it's got all of the features in it, so it'll
perfect,
show you everything rather than having to go
perfect.
through each one.
All right, really excited.
Hopefully everyone else is. The next free tool is the security check. So the big thing is getting your tenant compliant with CIS or NCSC or both, but there's no easy way of doing it. They'll send you a big PDF if you sign up, but you've got to go through and manually check and see how your tenant compares. There's tools for your entra side, so you've got your Maester, and there's some CIS tools for checking the entra side, but there's nothing for the Intune side. So I built the security check tool, which checks all of the CIS and NCSC baselines and compares your tenant settings to it and sends you a nice email report at the end saying how compliant your tenant is. So
All right, okay.
It's useful for a quick check, or certainly for consultants, so you can do a before and after. So you can show the value of the work you've done. You can say it was 12% before, now it's 98%.
Interesting. So this CIS is the benchmark, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, this is
security
interesting.
benchmark. Yeah, so it's a way of checking how secure your whole Intune tenant is, and therefore how secure your devices are.
Okay, do you, because this is like some sort of an updated thing, it's on always being, there's a new updates with the security benchmark. Do you do the updates, or
Yes.
do you have okay?
Yeah, I have it all runs off a database behind it, which I then keep updated. And because it's a community tool, if people find something that's missing, they can just stick a note in on the GitHub repo, and I'll add it in. That's not a problem at all.
Oh, that is cool. Okay.
And so this one, and it just sends an HTML report. It's got some pie charts at the top in case you want to send it to management, and then it runs through each setting and how important that setting is, so you can get an idea of what's missing and whether you should urgently fix it or kind of leave it for a bit.
That is awesome. Do you have a sample of it? How would this report look like? I mean, if you have it, if you don't, it's fine.
Yeah, I should do. Put me on the spot now, haven't you? There we go.
Like I told you earlier, Andrew, I'm more like a very curious person. All right.
Thankfully, I did one a couple of weeks ago. So there we go.
All right.
So you can see you've got an overview here, which you could screenshot and send to your execs who don't care about the individual details. And then further down, you can have a look and see what's failed and why, and how important it is. So I've got urgency on there. So if it's a low urgency, you wouldn't prioritize that over some of the high ones.
This is really well detailed.
Yeah, and it's also got Android and iOS in there as well.
That's really cool. Oh yeah, awesome. That is really cool. I mean,
Yes.
this is more like a SOC report that you need to do, to report to the management and the stakeholders. And this, it looks even decent to bring it forward to the management.
Yeah. It's I use it for if an MSP is onboarding a new customer, for example, they can have a quick look and check what state the tenant's in. Or I use it before and after I do my consulting work.
All right. Okay.
And now you can host it yourself, so you can even change the layout of the emails if you want. So that's the security check. We'll skip the alerts because we'll do the daily checks instead, because the alerts is a cut down version of the daily checks. So this one every day sends you quite a long email with all of the details of your tenant from the last 24 hours. So if any applications have updated, so if you're running an application management tool, it'll tell you which apps they've pushed out. Any admin alerts, so if someone's changed something in the tenant, it'll tell you what's been changed. Account of your licenses. A useful one is licenses assigned to any old users, so anyone who hasn't logged in for 90 days, so you can log in and save yourself a license on that one. Your secure score. Your non-compliant devices, so you can sort those before the user gets locked out and rings up. If you've got Windows 365, any unused ones, and then some security ones, so firewall, antivirus, the apps are out of date, Windows is out of date, that kind of thing. Failed sign-ins, which is useful if someone's being attacked, so you can have a look and say this person's had 100 sign-ins the last 24 hours. We need to probably check their MFA. Any failed app installs, which are always useful. Any devices with app protection faults, any outstanding security tasks from the security center, and then the bits from the expiry alert, so it'll tell you when your Apple certificates are running out, and when your app's registration certificates and secrets are running out, and also any stale devices in Entra. So it gives you kind of an overview of your tenant every 24 hours. It comes by email, and then you can have a quick sift through rather than having to log into the Intune portal and click on 7 different places, and then the Entra portal, and then all the other portals. You can just grab it all from one email and quickly see, right, I need to sort this and this.
Okay. 2 questions. The first one, can I do this like a monthly or weekly instead of a daily? The second question is, can I break this down to departments? Let's say license. I want specific categories, licensing. I want it to go directly to be reported to the procurement, for example. Failed app installation to go to the help desk. Sign-in failure to the security. Could it be like broken into categories to be sent to specific people or departments?
At the moment, not, because it's one script which sends out an email. It's something I might look into, but you'd have to put multiple email addresses for each one, so it might be harder to manage. But it is open source, so you could self-host your own and tweak it that way. Okay.
And regarding the daily, you could actually do it like a weekly or a monthly thing.
Yeah, you could build your own and host it and say just run it weekly rather than daily. Mine runs daily because I like to get a list every day of certainly the non-compliant devices. Because if it's been a week and the user can't get into their 365 apps, I'd rather be on top of that the same day. And failed sign-ins, things like that I want to know there and then, not a week later.
Would there be a highlight on the report? The email itself? Is there it says, because every time, you open such an email for every day, I would imagine that it gets some sort of exhausting, having the same email every day, but does it give you like a highlight, just like a red or something, or you need to read specifically to those?
read through, but when we get to the management tool, that has an API that you can tap into and grab the key bits that way.
Okay, interesting. All right.
But this one is just an email.
Okay.
So that's daily checks, and expiry alerts is the same thing, but it only does the bottom 3 bits here.
Mm-hmm.
That's just for people who need to monitor their Apple certificates and things.
Oh yeah, this is the this is quite important, because if once you go over the expiry date with the Apple token or the Apple certificates, then you need to re-enroll each Apple device. That was just a major problem by one of my customers. But yeah, okay, this tool would be beneficiary.
Yeah, do not let those run out. You really don't want to let those run out.
Yeah.
And people forget. It's it's only natural.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's always one I would sign up for.
Yeah, and especially the admins that they go on holiday during the expiry period.
Yeah, it's only in their calendar. No one else can see it. They've turned their emails off, and they get back, and it's run out.
All right.
Or someone else signed up for it and they've left, and nobody knows when it runs out. It's best to put an alert
in.
Yeah. The next one, application deployment. This one takes a minute to load because it's a massive database. There we go. So this uses the Winget community repo underneath. So if you want to push out a Winget application, you can search for it in here. It has thousands, which is why it takes so long to load. A lot of different versions as well. So if we do 7-zip, so you can say I want to push out version 24, and it will tell you all the details about 7-zip, where it's installing from, and then you select your groups here. So you can customize the group, or it will make the groups for you. You can mark it as available, and then you can put an email address if you want to be informed when it's finished. It's entirely optional. And what it does then is it creates a PowerShell install script, a PowerShell uninstall script, and a PowerShell detection script. Wraps them all into an Intune win and deploys it to Intune for you.
And that's within one click, just less than a minute, I guess.
Yep, one click and your app's deployed.
Wow, decent.
It is. And I'm not going to click on it, but there's a full list of apps there if anyone wants to have a look through. And this one does have an API as well, so you can query it. If you don't want to use it to deploy apps, you can just use the API to have a look at the application details. So if you want to check where 7-zip installs from and the silent command, for example, if you want to package it yourself, you can grab it from here and get it from the API.
Nice.
Because finding silent installs is always a tricky one, but other people have done the work for you, so you can just grab it from the database and have a look. Or the other option is you can create a custom manifest. So you can create your own YAML manifest file, point this to it, and it will package that into an Intune file for you. It's more complicated, but it gives you more control, so you can do custom applications, for example. And this takes 5 minutes total to push an app out. It's quite fast.
Yeah.
And the last free one is an old one. It's an AVD calculator, because the Microsoft Azure calculator is complicated, especially when it comes to AVD, because you've got your compute, you've got your storage, you've got your network traffic, you've got to work out the concurrency and all the rest of it. So I've built a simple calculator here where you just type in the number of users, how heavy the users are, how many users connected at the busy time, any sort of redundancy, and then it will tell you roughly how much that will cost. The pricing is from the Azure API, so the pricing is exact. But obviously, I'm not going to guarantee that the pricing is exactly what it's going to cost you, because there's always variables, like one user stayed on for an extra 3 hours, or the network traffic was a bit high because someone downloaded a massive file or something. There's too much variability there for me to guarantee it, but it gives you a pretty good estimate. So if we run through, so if we say we've got 50 medium users, 60% usage, don't need redundancy, don't need more after hours. Disk. And there we go. So it reckons the cost per user is £2.48 per month. The total cost will be 143.
Okay. Okay.
And it works out based on Microsoft recommendations from their learn.
Yeah, I haven't used the Azure calculator with Microsoft. I used the for the modern workplace calculator. But with the one you're just offering now, it's much simpler as from Microsoft. Because I think you have a correct vision on this, because a lot of stakeholders or customers, they just want to know a rough estimate on the user. They don't want to know a lot of calculations and
yes,
but
especially
this
early
is spot on.
If it's an early pre-sales call or something, and you're just trying to tell them, compare this to Windows 365, for example, you can quickly get a rough estimate. So you say, roughly 150 a month for this, rather than at that point they don't need precise figures. They just need to know if it's affordable, largely.
Okay. But it's I mean, all those previous tools, they focused on Intune in general. How come you created a calculator for AVD and not for Intune in general, like modern workplace?
This one came first. This is the first tool I built.
Because correct. You mentioned that earlier.
Yes, so this one I built first, and then I started building Intune apps afterwards. So I thought I'd carry this one over to the toolbox because it was already built and working.
All right. Yeah, Azure. I'm not really sure if it's called now Azure or Entra ID, because some Microsoft website, they still call it Azure, and some of them will be like persistent. It's Entra ID. It's just confusing sometimes for me.
Yeah. Yes. It was a nightmare when they changed that one. Especially when you're halfway through a book and you've got screenshots in.
I would imagine. I'm just happy now we might have a 10 years buffer where they won't change the Microsoft Intune name. So let's see after 10 years.
Hopefully, yes. Although then I've got to do a new edition, so I'll not complain at that point, because I'll do a new edition with a rename. So that was the last of the free tools. So now we can have a look at the management tool, which is it's like Intune Backup, but a lot better. So it has you can have multiple admins, you can have customer accounts. So it's got RBAC in it, so you can say, right, I want this admin to be able to do, say, backups only, or this customer can only view reports. So it gives you control, because Intune Backup is you've got one account. That's all you've got. You've got one account for the tenant. This one you can have multiple accounts. So for an MSP, for example, you could set your customers up and say, right, here's your account. Your tenants are linked to your account. You can do backups. Well, not that you do restores because that'll break something, but you can do a backup. Or you could have admins who just do reporting, and you can say, right, you can look at reports only. So it's designed for MSPs to manage multiple customers, but give them a bit of self-service as well, which everyone likes.
Yeah.
So you've got test customer. So you've got your standard backup and restore, like with Intune Backup. Drift check, so you can see if it's drifted away from the last backup, or you've got a gold tenant, so you could have a tenant with your fixed policies on, and you say, right, this is my baseline tenant. If a customer drifts from that tenant, I want to be alerted. So that's what the gold drift is. It says that customer has drifted from the baseline policies, and you can go in and you can revert the change, acknowledge it and say, right, that's fine, they can have that one, I'll ignore it. Or you can say, actually, that's a good change, let's push that to the gold policies so that we can then deploy to all our other customers.
Okay.
Yep. And then templates, so you can create a template of policies and say, right, there's I don't know, new policy out from Microsoft. Let's create a template with 2 or 3 of them in, and we can push that out to multiple customers in one go. So it's like a restore,
The
but
templates. Okay.
yeah, it's like a restore, but it's multi-tenant. So you can push out a set of policies to more than one tenant. Tenant migration is a way, because there's lots of tools to migrate your users and teams and Exchange and that. From if you're doing tenant migration from one to the other, you've got Steve's script to do the devices, but there's nothing to move the Intune policies. So what you can do in here is you can select 2 tenants. You can do an initial migration, which just bulk moves everything across. What it will do is it will look for any tenant IDs in the policy JSON, and if it finds them, it will update them to the new tenant ID. So OneDrive, for example, if you've got the tenant ID in your OneDrive policy, it'll update it during the migration. And then a delta sync is when you're ready to do the cutover, that will sync anything that's out of date since the first migration. So you do an initial migration, and then when you're ready to do the final cutover, you do a quick delta sync, and it just bumps everything else over that's missing. And this is a way of migrating, fully migrating tenant to tenant.
Tenant to tenant.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm trying to comprehend this under some sort of a scenario. So if I am I want to start a split tenant migration. It sounds like those are the tools that I should go for. Am I correct?
Yes, or company A has bought company B, and they now want to manage all of their devices. So you would use a migration tool to migrate the users and the groups and email and everything like that on the other tools. But then you need to get the Intune policies across. So you'd use this to migrate from their tenant to your tenant.
Okay. And now what's the core difference? Because you explained what's the difference between the free and the paid one. Now I just trying to understand now. To me, it's just more like those paid toolbox are for multi-tenants. Is this the only difference what it brings?
This migration's not in the free one. You don't have the user control, which might be useful for some, and it doesn't have the API on the free one.
Okay.
And also this one, if you look, does the daily checks and security checks are built in. So we can have a look and see the daily checks here. So it's rather than having to sign up for 3 different services, you can sign up to one, and you get everything, and it sits in an API underneath, so you can call it with your however you want to do a Power BI book or something.
Okay.
You can give people access to just view the reports and not do anything else. So you can say, right, I don't want you to be able to do a restore, but I want you to have a look through the reports every day and just check there's nothing terribly wrong in there.
All right. Okay. I'm using. Okay.
It's a bit more. It's a bit more polished, this one.
Okay. Give me one scenario where you think those paid tools are fit for this specific scenario, or just one scenario from your experience or use case.
Yeah, so you've taken on a new customer. You're an MSP, for example. You've taken on a new customer, and you want to quickly onboard them and get them up and running. So you add them into here. You can check the security check, which will tell you the secure score of their tenant. You can see what state it's in, and then you might want to baseline it. So you could push out a custom template and say, right, these are my goal
Mhm.
templates. I want these on this new customer. I want them onboarded now, so you can push those out. Or you could go one further, and in managed tenants, you also get access to my deploy Intune tool. So you could click on there. Let's pick the test one. And you fill in this fairly simple form.
Mhm.
Click submit, and within 10 minutes, you have a full secure Intune environment built. Everything's assigned, everything's configured. So if you bring in a complete empty tenant, say you've got a whole new customer, they have no Intune at all, they're unmanaged or group policy or something, fill in the form. Within 5 minutes, you have an Intune landing zone, effectively, fully secure, CIS compliant, conditional access, M365 apps. Everything's assigned to dynamic groups, so it's all automated. And then you simply have to layer on top a few group policies. Anything
Nice.
customer specific.
Okay. Oh wow, this is decent actually. I think it's more than a polished version of the free tool.
It's got a
It's
few
pretty
extra
decent, yeah.
features. Yeah. Yes.
Features and tricks. I mean, it's pretty decent. I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. So basically, two scenarios that I think it fits. Either you have a split tenant migration, or you acquire a new company and you want to manage their Intune as quick as possible. I mean, this is decent, and yeah.
And it's designed for business premium licenses, so you can see the wallpaper here. It doesn't need the enterprise licensing. It stores the image in a PowerShell script, so you don't need any extra licensing for that. It will work for anyone with business premium and up.
Okay.
And you've got the box here for fresh environment. If it's not, because you'll take on tenants that are in use but are terrible. If you leave that unticked, it will build this environment self-contained. So it'll assign everything to static groups that you can populate manually. So you're not interfering with the existing environment. You're building a second environment in the tenant, and then you can migrate users to the new set of policies.
Sorry, with the fresh environment come again? I didn't really get
So
get
this
that.
is the fresh environment. If you turn it on, it assumes it is an empty blank tenant.
Okay.
And it assigns everything to dynamic groups, which will catch all users and all devices, so that you don't have to worry about, when you get a new user, they'll automatically be assigned. If you've got stuff in already, turn that off, and the groups, rather than dynamic, are static. So you have to manually add users in. So everything you deploy is completely self-contained, so it's not going to break the existing devices. But as you onboard new devices, you can put them in this group and they can get the new set of policies rather than the old ones.
You really thought of this, because I had this case when I just I created this for a customer, created a new tenant, we migrated the best practice and so on, but always we have to do this assignment, user assignment or device, dynamic or static assignments. That was just sometimes it gets, even though
it's a lot of clicking.
Yes, I mean it's unnecessary clicking.
Yes.
And I was like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I mean, the IT community have achieved so far, but they didn't think of this annoying part.
Yep.
But you have it right there. I mean,
yes, it does all the assignments for you, so you don't have to then click through and find all the policies and assignment. It pre-assigns everything.
Can I say that if I have a new tenant, then we migrate all the policies? Can I have this? How long would I have it? I mean, how long would it take me to have it up and running?
And with this tool?
Yes, with this tool.
I've seen it finish in 4 minutes. Sometimes it can take up to 10 if it's running a bit slowly.
I mean, you don't need to notify the users at all.
No, and that includes Office. It uses Office apps as Win32, so that includes uploading the Win32 package.
This is decent. This is nice. I mean, I was curious a while back. Now I know this is really, really worth it to have a talk about talk about it. It's great job, man.
If you're running an MSP, it gets your tenants in so much quicker. You can be up and running because you onboard them into the management tool. So within an hour, you've onboarded them, you've built the baseline, and you've run a backup.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Okay. I mean, nice. I'm just surprised because I tried to read through the website. What does it do? I mean, I tried to read over and over, but I this idea of this what you just explained, I didn't really get it. I mean, man, it's I mean, it's worth it to have an episode on this tool. Really worth it.
Yep, and my tenant's built from it, so you can get an idea of the security scores. It's fairly secure.
Nice.
It's a secure baseline, but without being unmanageable. Because if you do 100% across the board, nobody's going to be able to work. So it's getting a nice level. And I keep it updated. So I recently put autopilot device prep. It now deploys the policies and the groups for that, including the group ownership bit. So it covers everything, and as there's updates, I update it.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I love it. I really liked it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think I need later on to let it sink first to comprehend, because yeah, it's a lot of things to digest within this episode. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff in here and some powerful tools. And management and deployment is one fixed price. I don't charge per tenant. I don't charge per user. It's a fixed amount per month.
Okay. And how much is it?
$99 a month.
All right. Okay. Without saying how many subscribers you have, I mean, it's up to you, but do you have successful subscribers and with the positive feedback so far?
Yep. Yes, the feedback's positive, and I'm always, because it's a fairly new tool, I'm always open to improvement. So if someone comes on and says, it would be great if you could do this, I will try my best to build it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's Andrew Taylor. I mean, of course, it's a successful and positive feedback. Yeah.
I try my best. That's all I can do. I can't make any promises because it might be the ask for something that's just not possible. But if I can do it, I will try and do it. The next thing I'm working on is API integration, so I can link it to RoboPack. I think is probably the first on the list, so you can deploy apps through RoboPack through the tool. Mm-hmm. So it can be one console to do multiple Intune things, as I can tap into other products.
Okay. And this is what you currently building on top of it.
That's right. So I've built the integration part underneath, so then I can add APIs in. So if someone wants a link to their management tool or something, I can look at adding API links in.
Okay, interesting. All right. I mean, this is totally worth it. Do you do you have a demo? I mean, a recorded demo on this migration using, I don't know, free or paid tool? Maybe we can later on.
Not yet. Steve has done one on the deployment tool a while back, but I haven't done one on the management tool yet.
All right.
I don't have all the fancy video editing tools that others have, so I will try and call in someone to do that for me.
Yeah, I would love to see it in action. Maybe later on, or maybe on the second season, I'll have you back, and we can do like a live demo where you just display the tool, left, right, and center, whether it's a free or paid tool, which is will be exciting to have.
Good to see how it's grown as well if we do it in a while and see what I've changed.
Yes, it will be definitely interesting to see how this tool has grown within for organizations or within the community itself.
Yes. Yeah, it's built for the community, so even the paid ones, you can self-host them. You can, because I know people have restrictions on where the data can be, so if they want, they can host them themselves.
Yes. Do you have anything to share before we reach to a conclusion?
I think I've probably shared enough. I imagine. I imagine that's a lot for people to take in.
Yeah, I haven't got you to break your NDA yet, but maybe on the next episodes.
Yeah, we'll keep trying. We'll keep trying.
Well, Andrew, it's really a pleasure to see you again after this time. And I will definitely have you again and again on my upcoming episodes, not only because I'm curious and I love your work, because this is what all your fans are asking. I mean, everyone loves you. They can see you really committed to, especially to your Fridays newsletter. I mean, this is the best commitment that I have followed for the past 2 years now. Honestly,
it's a lot of work goes into that. Yeah, a lot of hours.
And we love it. And I mean, my weekend starts only when I see your post. Honestly, I know my weekend it's starting right now.
Should I do it on a Thursday now, so you can start your weekend a day early?
All right, thank you, Andrew. I will definitely see you again.
Yes, lovely to speak to you again.